So we're here at the IMN CFO COO Forum with another special guest, Alex Lavell from Prophia. Thank you so much for joining me today for this interview.
Thanks for having me.
So please tell the audience about yourself a little bit so they know who you are, about your company, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, my name's Alex. I've been with Prophia for the past 2 years. I've been in prop tech and commercial real estate related technology for a little over a decade at this point. In terms of Prophia, we work with commercial real estate landlords to manage lease data, documents, and reporting. So helping all these companies like Related, Nuveen, Spear Street Capital get out of reading documents and structuring unstructured data.
Yeah, I love that. That's like the future of real estate. People are still with papers and contracts and signatures with a pen, right? That gets pretty complex. So let's start with like a high level topic with IMN, and we'll drill down into what you guys do and specifically what you're solving. But I assume you've been to IMN before. You're in prop tech for many years.
Absolutely.
What are some key trends that you've seen come out of IMN today, this specific IMN, that are a little bit more unique or special to the time that we're at right now in real estate?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things that I've recognized here is that there's a lot more focus and emphasis on how to drive operational efficiency, whereas the last few years it's really seemed more like organizations are white-knuckling it, they're trying to stay alive versus planning for the future and try to optimize.
How did that change look? You said, let's say the past couple of years, like what do you think is driving this change?
Obviously, interest rate environment and the recent Fed announcement, I think that's a huge driver of it. But at the same time, I think there are so many more tools at people's disposal now. Commercial real estate industry has been really slow to adapt a lot of these technologies. But as the new guard really comes into play, people are taking much more of a focus on how can I do more with less headcount, with less employees, to put myself in a position where I have either a competitive advantage or I can do more with less people.
Yeah, and especially when we're talking about a higher, well, we did have a reduction of 50 basis points as to, I don't know, about almost 2 weeks ago, which probably had some sort of an influence on what's going on right now, especially with building your tech stack within a commercial real estate firm. And yes, we are seeing, I mean, we're aware of that too. Like we're seeing that reduction in costs for them that is driven through efficiency or like you said, operational efficiency. I think what is the interesting question is what stopped them? Like, why not doing it earlier? You know, both you and I come from tech, right? I think we've probably started using technology very, very heavily, probably for the last, 10 years, 15 years. We've known that, I know, since we were very young. Since I was very young, I knew how to use technology. It was part of my life. What do you think has been driving this like latest momentum in tech, specifically in the past, I would say maybe the past 3 years? It's not even no interest rate, the decision to become more efficient. You know, people have been scared of this. What do you think broke that fear?
I think a big part of it is actually just how reliant people are on technology in every other sector of their life. Now you can do anything on your phone. You can, purchase a home. You can purchase real estate online. People have this supercomputer that's in their pocket all day, every day. And, 5 years ago, the iPhone wasn't nearly as powerful as it is today. And I think a big part of that and a big change that we're seeing now is the generation that grew up with technology at their disposal is really starting to come into the decision-making position versus the people like, not to date myself, but I used to have to call my friends on an actual landline, right? Things have changed very drastically. So as society in general has become more reliant on technology, I think you're really starting to see a lot of that adoption being driven with commercial real estate. And I also think that there's been a tendency in this industry for organizations, somebody mentioned it earlier here today, but chasing problems, right? Vendors chasing problems, trying to create problems out of nothing. And I think today you're seeing a lot more meaningful technology that's actually solving business issues that operators and owners all deal with on a regular basis.
Let's take a deep dive into this. Like, this is, I feel like, the base layer of tech, right? And then there's the next stage, and this is what I think you guys are doing a lot. We're doing some of it, you're doing that a lot too, which is AI. And this is like, I think, an important piece that I didn't have a chance to discuss with anyone in this interview so far, because honestly, no one has the expertise and knowledge to understand how would that actually influence the market. But I believe you do. So what are you guys doing with AI, with that next level of technology, and how are you helping commercial real estate firms utilize that into becoming more efficient?
Yeah, so today our system can read through hundreds and thousands of pages of documents. can structure and analyze them in a matter of seconds. So something that traditionally would have taken an employee or an operator a week to complete can now be done in a matter of seconds. So if you look at just the basic economies of scale that come with that, being able to focus that time back on more revenue generating activities is a much more impactful thing. I was speaking with an operator that we worked with earlier this week. They implemented our solution back in about April or May. And the principal told me that they had 5 job requirements that they actually cut because they said we don't need that processing power anymore. So that's just one section of it. The other part of it that we can do is also there's a quality assurance aspect of what this does. We know that humans are imperfect and we know that they're finicky.
Yeah.
Right? Not only do you have to train someone, but before you even get to that point, you have to worry about hiring them and sourcing them and then hoping that they show up for work. The same person can read the same document from Monday to Wednesday, and the way that they perceive that document can change based on the experiences that they may have had in a given day. Our system doesn't have that same bias. So it's scanned 130,000 documents or leases to date, and it can take all these different data points and distill them down, and you can rest assured knowing that the same thing is being abstracted or pulled out the exact same way. So there's a consistency that comes with that. But also going back to that quality assurance, our data indicates that 10%, the baseline across the United States, 10% of tenants has financial error on their rental. Wow. And half of the buildings that we onboard has a financial error on that rental as well. So there's a lot of money that we find that's sitting on the table. Recently onboarding a massive institution, publicly traded company, household name, and we found $40,000 in monthly rent steps that the landlord had totally missed. They were able to identify that, recognize it, and rectify it in literally minutes.
So that's like $500,000 saved per year just from doing that.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Kudos. Okay, let's focus on IMN, right?
Yeah.
You've been here before. You've done this before. What brings you to IMN every year, every single event when you come to?
It's always a great opportunity to see different ways that people are kind of innovating here, from operators themselves in all different facets of real estate. What's happening? What are they saying? What are they actually doing? It's a really great melting pot, a really good opportunity to just take in a ton of information on the market, on trends, all of that. And I can do that in a day in this conference. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I love that.
How about yourself?
Well, I love IMN. We come back to events throughout the year every time. Shout out to Todd Rosenberg, who I love, and we've been doing this for a long time with him for the past 3 years. I feel like what I hear in the I would call this like the backside conversations. Like I see people here right in front of us having these like side conversations about interest rate, all the regular stuff. But then someone comes with one idea or a small point of view as to what's going on in the industry today or what's happening. And every time I would hear that at IMN events, every IMN event I would go to, I would hear this side conversation. I would say, that's a really cool point of view that I didn't think of. Like, let's learn from that. Let's use that. And I feel like people here are doing that with each other all the time.
Very glad.
It's a part of this kind of positive community that's actually looking for ways to succeed in this space. So I love IMN. I think it's a great platform for us as vendors, but also for everybody doing real estate.
Absolutely.
Last question. If you're a first-time attendee, right, today, or let's say new to the industry, what are some tips that you would give like a new person just walking into the industry?
I think the biggest thing is take a look at who's going ahead of time, plan your time out there. It's 8 hours feels like a long event, but it's really short, and there are a lot of really interesting people with some incredible perspectives, and you don't want to miss out on something that could have been, life-changing or perspective-changing for you. So do some preparation on the front end, see who's talking, see what they're talking about, make sure you're going to the right events.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining this interview. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.